Hello, I'm Lynn Brown with Superior Media, and today I'd like to welcome Z None of the Above to our candidate profiles for the upcoming by-election in Sault Ste. Marie. So welcome to Superior Media. Tell me a little bit about yourself, about your history with politics and what your platform is.
Well, thank you very much for asking, and thanks for welcoming me to the Sioux. Everyone has been very welcoming,
Good.
and I like to say that I'm a little bit of a northerner. I live just north of Toronto and Thornhill
Okay.
in Vaughan, and then I worked my way up here for the by-election. So basically, when I first did this, I had an idea, and I wanted to run federally against Harper, because he
Okay.
wasn't showing up at debates, wasn't answering all the questions, and you could decline a ballot, but people didn't know about it, so I wanted none of the above as an option. So you could say, I don't like any of them.
Okay.
So I went in and said, can you do this? And the elections office said, never. You'll never see it in your lifetime. I'm like, oh, don't tell me never. I'll find a way around it. So I filled out the paperwork, got my name legally changed to none of the above with the Z, so it's at the bottom of the list, and it went through.
Oh, I see how you. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
I went to run,
So
and
on the ballot it looks.
yeah,
Oh, I
so it'll be
gotcha.
last on the ballot. So it's none of the above. Everybody have to be above me, unless ZZ Top runs. We were thinking of names that would come below me. So Zabo or somebody
right.
with the double
Okay.
Z is in it. It
No,
might
I
be.
think I get it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I wanted to run federally, and then at the last minute, my accountant said he wanted $6,000 instead of $1,300 that he gets from the government. And I said, buddy, even if I had an extra $6,000, I'm not going to do that much. You're going to get it for like a day's work. I can't pay you $6,000 for a day. I'm as bad as the people I'm campaigning against. So I tried to find another account, and I couldn't, so I didn't go in the federal race. So I missed it. So I said, all right, I'll wait a little bit to change my name back so I don't get stuck with no name or everything crossed in the computer systems. And the by-election came up in Whitby, Oshawa, because Patrick Brown had beat out Christine Elliott for the leadership, and she resigned. So I said, hey, it's provincial, not federal, but I'll go for it. So I
Okay.
went to run there, and somebody told me on my way in to hand in my paperwork, they said, I saw one of your signs. I'm like, no, I can't make signs yet. That's illegal. Turns out there was a none of the above party in Ontario that I hadn't heard about. So I ran against them. So it was none of the above the person against the party. And we ran. They beat me by a little bit. And then I went to run again in Scarborough. So we joined forces. So now I'm in the none of the above party.
Okay, I see. So there's you develop a party.
Greg Vezina is actually president of the party, and he developed it independently of me. So we both had the same kind of good idea
Okay.
of getting the point of none of the above out there.
Okay.
And what we'd like to see is a real none of the above square instead of declining your ballot, because when you go to do that, you got to say it in front of everybody. You got to walk up to the poll clerk and hand it back and say, I decline my ballot. Then everybody sees how you voted.
Okay.
And it should be a secret. So they can just make a little box. They're refusing to do it, but you could just mark declined. Otherwise, you scribble on it, I don't like anybody, it counts as spoiled. And then the politicians can say you just weren't smart enough to know how to vote. But a declined ballot says I'm smart enough to know how to vote. I didn't like my choices. If they'd had something like that in the States, we might not have had Trump. Right? They're trying to make a none of the above for real in the States. I tried to get in on that one, but I don't have an American citizenship, so I couldn't run. I was like 40% in the polls. I'd have been president by now if I could have run there.
So what made you decide to come up to Sault Ste. Marie and cast your name into the June 1st by-election here?
Well, basically, I've been chasing the by-elections. You can run anywhere in Ontario. So I ran in Oshawa, Whitby, Scarborough, Ottawa, Vanier. I ran federally finally in Thornhill just recently, and then this by-election came up. So you can run anywhere in Ontario. I've been through the Sioux before on my way across Canada with a buddy, dropping him off in Vancouver. I like the place, and I've always heard good things about the Sioux. Had some people in university I hung out with who were up there in the Sioux. And so I thought, yeah, stranger things have happened in the Sioux, they said, than me winning. So I thought, hey, it's a good shot for me to win. And everybody's been real friendly. A lot of people liked it. Got my form signed in no time with all the signatures. And I've been having some fun. I did the cleanup day today, so I helped clean up the Sioux. And yeah, I came up with an idea for a shirt that says, so sue me.
Oh,
So I copyrighted that one, but I'm going to sell it to the tourism people there or raise some money for a charity or stuff. So if anybody wants a shirt, let me know, and I'll be printing them out soon. Yeah.
so share everything. What are some of the policies? What are some of the things
Yeah.
that you think you can tackle?
Well, there's the party policies and personal policies. And the thing I like about the none of the above party is it doesn't restrict you to only doing what the party tells you. If you take a look at all the people, including Orazzetti that you sent there before, he had to toe the party line or they'd kick him out. They have people called whips who pay attention to that kind of stuff and make sure everybody who's liberal does what they're told, everybody who's conservative does what they're told, everybody who's NDP does what they're told. The Greens, sometimes they get a free vote, but most of the time they have to do what they're told too. Okay, in the none of the above party, we have a couple of basic things like recall, which would have been good, especially if people decided to sell hydro when they didn't campaign on it. So you would have to fill out a petition, get enough people, majority of the people, to say we're going to pull you back. And if you're getting close, that might scare them into listening to you. If not, you pull them back and have a by-election. Then you would have a vote whether or not you wanted to sell off Hydro 1. So we have recall direct democracy, where we believe in taking polls from the people on important issues. So people who don't want you to sell hydro, 84% said no, and they went and did it anyways, because it was better for the party, not better for the people. And I don't like parties that do that. That's why I'm not in the big parties. I want to do what's better for the people, not the party.
Okay.
And so personally, I come from a customer service background.
Okay.
And that's the thing that I think is missing a lot from government, and people just take it for granted, that you're not going to get good service from the government. You're going to have to sit there and wait. They're going to mess you around, to use polite language, and you're just going to spend days and weeks and months fighting with them. Like that poor lady who had a lien on her van from Fred Flintstone.
Right.
It took 9 months. 9 months to get that cleared up. No company would do that anywhere else. They even said, go get a lawyer and sue us. I pay taxes. I shouldn't have to sue my government to get service from you. Yeah, call my MPP. If I was the MPP, I'd have been standing there every day going, is it fixed? Is it fixed? Is it fixed? Just like, are we there now? Are we there now? Until they were like, all right, we'll fix it for you already. And don't just fix it for one person. You go and clean it up for everybody else so nobody else has to wait 9 months for it. And you should have cut her a check to buy her van. The minister could have bought her van and said, fine, we'll deal with it. And when they cleaned up their act, then they could have sold it to get their money back. They didn't have to leave her stuck for she could have had a baby in 9 months. She's sitting around for 9 months. I had a baby hearing about it. Like that was completely unacceptable. And people just said, yeah, that's what we get from the government. And it should not be that way. You should not accept it. You should have people who won't accept it. There should be a culture of not accepting it.
So share with me, why should the citizens of Sault Ste. Marie put their X beside none of the above on June the 1st?
Well, for a couple of different reasons, and you don't have to wait until June 1st. The advanced polls are coming up soon, and it turns out federally I did really well in the advanced polls.
Okay.
Who knew? I thought everybody would wait till the last minute and hear what I had to say, but some people get it right away. They're like, I wasn't going to vote anyways, and I see it as, it's a right, so you can ignore that right. You have the right not to vote. But I see that as disrespectful to the veterans who fought and died for us to have that right. You know, the last ending of the poem in Flanders Field says, if ye break faith with those of us, we shall not rest. So I consider breaking faith by not voting. If you don't like any of the other options, get off your butt and go and run yourself. If you're not going to do that, the least you can do is show up at the polls and make a choice or decline your ballot. You hand it back and say, I don't like any of the choices. If you don't like that, then vote for me, because at least I got off my butt to do it. And the thing about a by-election is, a lot of times it's not the same as a general election. You're not picking the premier. You're not going to change if it's going to be Kathleen Wynne or Patrick Brown. That will be in the general election coming up. So the other parties will say, pick me to send a message. You can pick them and send the message for one day, and then they're on to the next thing. You've seen it in the past by-elections. For that day, they say, we're gaining ground, we're going to win, and then it's all quiet. You don't hear any announcements for the other ridings, what they got. And that's kind of what Mayor Deb has been going off of, saying, look, you want a seat at the table. You want to make a difference and get a seat at the table. You guys had a seat at the table. You had a minister for all that time, and he didn't really do all that much for you. They take your vote for granted. They've got their majority. They didn't need to do anything for the Sioux. And they left the job open for 5 months, just sitting around. That's 6 months they had to call the by-election. It's going to be 6 months by the time we have the election that they left your seat at the table wide open and empty. There's only 13 months left. So whoever you pick now, if you pick from the big parties, a month or two after you elect them, they're going to be turning around saying, and vote for me. We're like, we just did. No, vote for me again in June 2018. So they're just going to be flipping around and looking at the next election. They're going to be spending time fundraising for the big party and working for the big party and trying to get things going for their party, not the people. What I'm going to do is shake it up some. Every single day I'll go down there, I'll be reminding them I need something for the Sioux. And they might be able to take some of my ideas because I'm not from one of the other parties. If Patrick Brown comes up with a really good idea, Kathleen Wynne can't use it, because then they'll say, see, that's why you should make us the government, because even they're taking our ideas. So a good idea comes up, the Liberals can't take it unless they manage to take it and steal it as their own. They can have every idea I got. I don't care, as long as we get stuff for the Sioux. So I'm also going to stay on them. And who knows, even if I beat the Liberals, even if I come in third and the Liberals come in fourth, that could be the last straw for Kathleen Wynne. She could say, what? You're picking that guy over us? That's it. I'm out of here. So you never know, it could be the last straw. So if you'd like to see Kathleen Wynne out, I've been joking around that she calls those mortgage hotlines all the time just to hear approved. She doesn't get much approval anywhere else. So I could just bug her enough. She's like, forget it, I'm out of here. So I could get her out and we'll have somebody different for the Liberals. But I'm definitely coming up with some new ideas. I'm going to, at least you'll get some laughs out of it instead of some tears, which is all you've been getting so far when you open up that hydro bill. So maybe I can find a way to get us some rebates. I can find it. They told me you'll never see none of the above on the ballot, and it's there this time. So you can tell me you're never going to get money out of Liberals, but we'll see if anybody can find a way to do it. This guy right here.
Well, thank you very much for coming up. This has been our candidate profile for None of the Above. I'm Lynn Brown with Superior Media.